Well, I think what's occurring is we're seeing citizens who are getting lots of experiences from the world they operate in, whether it's with the big tech companies, the Amazons or eBays or airlines or banks, and they're forming all those experiences in how they now like to access those services. So the spillover from that, of course, is they're looking for a similar experience when they interact with government. So they're bringing that forward, and where government's wrestling with how do we create the right systems and processes to try and facilitate that kind of experience, so that even though government is historically been divided into these various silos called agencies, we know that citizens are increasingly expecting to interact with government in a way where government presents itself as a single entity. So that's not just a technical challenge, it's a cultural challenge and it's a process challenge. It's a security and privacy challenge. So we're all, and I say all the Australian jurisdictions in one form or another are all trying to get to that point, right? So that you could log on once and we know who you are no matter which department you are wanting to deal with. Or alternatively, you're undertaking a process that requires you to notify 4 agencies of something and you just do it once and all 4 agencies know. So that's the type of outcome we're driving towards. Well, I think in 2023 you have to talk about cybersecurity. It's obviously at the top of the list, and cyber's just not about the technical controls or the things to stop the bad people getting in, although it is very much about that. It's also about people's behaviours. It's about how we can recover if we have a breach. How do we restore people to where they were? How do we prevent harm? How do we minimise the opportunity for data breaches by collecting less information? So I think cyber sits hand in hand then with that thing we were talking about today, which is trust. So there's a huge push to go online for convenience, and that's compelling for a lot of people. But to get a broader reach, we need the convenience with the trust and security, and that's where we start to unlock the value. I think the biggest barrier still is we've had over 100 years worth of government organised by essentially the mechanism of individual government agencies doing their thing on their rail tracks with their customer or their stakeholders. And that 100+ years has built a lot of ingrained attitudes and behaviours, right? And really, until the last 10 or so years, there's been no means to overcome that. I mean, if 20 years ago we wanted to present a single view of government, we couldn't have even if we wanted to. Now we can. So the barrier is not the technology so much now, it's the culture, it's the accountability mechanisms. And how do we maintain this notion that you got ministerial accountability for something, yet that department could rely on 3 other departments to help it do its job? So that's a challenging concept. Well, as a central agency in the WA government, what we're trying to do is develop a lot of central capabilities that agencies can use to unlock that citizen journey I'm talking about. So we have to make sure we've got the data models, the security models, the whole of government platforms, and we make that available to the sector for them to leverage to then deliver out their service. And that's how we seek to orchestrate that from happening. So that's the prime position. The second thing is my agency is responsible for administering the Digital Capability Fund, which is the primary investment vehicle for digital and data. So through that funding lens, we can shape those things which government chooses to invest in and those which it may not. And that, of course, influences what gets done. So that's another big lever for us to use. Yeah, so a big priority for us this year is to really develop high-value services in the Service WA app, because although we've got a product there, we know that we can now make it, much more valuable to the community by having more attractive services in it. So that's a big thing. The second thing is we've got to continue to build our cybersecurity maturity, and we have good technical and policy capability to do that. We've got to deliver a new shared data asset for the state in terms of the work we're doing around linked data and making that much more accessible to the research community and to agencies so they can use data to solve the problems that they're working on. So those are the ones really that are kind of top of the tree for what we're looking at. And on the legislative side, my office is heavily involved in the government's intention around privacy and responsible sharing of information. Now that legislation in Western Australia, in the absence of anything at the moment, would make a huge difference, providing the right legal frameworks for what we want to do. Yeah, so I guess that's where we bring that strategic lens to all those things, and know it's a big sector with a lot going on. On some mornings I like to get up and sort of fool myself that I can somehow help orchestrate some of these things happening, but I think it's not beyond us. If we have the right government interest and connection with Cabinet and their priorities, the Treasury through the funding mechanisms we have, and we have the right policy, I think getting those ingredients aligned can be really, really powerful. So I spend a lot of my time trying to achieve that alignment. I don't think government's different to any other form of enterprise, to be honest. In the end, and I think we know this, it's people, right? People wanting to work with one another, people respecting each other, people communicating, people collaborating. So for me, even though we think about the tech world and we have these images of, people sitting in darkened offices and tapping away at keyboards, actually digital transformation first and foremost is a people-based activity. So we have to understand that. And really good digital products don't work without the wrapping around all those other things, the customer engagement, the stakeholder, the comms, all those things. We need all of them to work to make sure digital works. So I think great innovation to me, I said during my presentation this morning, it's tempting to get caught in kind of lofty language and technical language, but great innovation for me is how are we making a difference in the daily lives of citizens and businesses? Did we make their lives easier? Are we removing barriers? Are we opening up the ability for them to do the things they want to do and encourage them to have choice and create jobs or give them more time in their day to do stuff they'd rather be doing? To me, it's about bringing innovation right down to that is where we need to impact, because that's what makes a difference to the community, and what makes a difference to the community matters to government. Well, I think, look, it's for me, I come here as someone doing a keynote presentation, and I really take it as a great honour that I can come here, be given this sort of opportunity to speak to a great many people at the same time, be able to spread my views and provide information. And then that's reciprocated. People are interested, they're curious, they ask questions and all those things. So for me, this is a great day to be able to do those things and showcase some of the things we're going well, but also for me to be able to say to the sector, this is what we need from you too. Let's grasp this challenge together and make it happen. So that's the big thing for me.